Welcome everyone to Productside's webinar, Product Discovery in the Age of AI. My name is Roger Snyder. I'm a Principal Consultant and Trainer at Productside, and I am very happy to have joining us today Prashant Mahajan, a founder from Zeta.io. Welcome, Prashant.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me here.
You said
And
Miami, Florida, but you're now in San Francisco. Are you from Miami originally?
so when this was being asked, that time I was visiting Miami, but right now I'm in SF. I moved to SF. Uh, Here, what the tech is, and everyone who's building a product is currently here. So I thought this will be a better place to be.
Excellent. Well, congratulations and welcome to California. Excellent.
Thank you.
Great. So a couple of admin slides to just kind of get everybody into the right frame of mind, and then we'll get going and let Prashant tell us about AI discovery. And if you aren't familiar with Productside, we are a outcome-driven product partner. We focus on helping product management organizations build better products that will delight their customers, meet their company objectives, and products that people want to purchase. So we provide complete solutions that transform a product management team, helping them to perform more effectively. We are very proud of the fact that we tailor our content to your particular needs. And we have a stable of fantastic consultants and trainers that are experts in the field with at least 2 decades of experience who are invested in your outcomes, invested in your success. So that's a little bit about Productside. Most typical questions that we get are, hey, can I watch this webinar later? And the answer is absolutely. If you registered for the webinar, you will receive an email afterwards with a link to the recording. So look for that link afterwards. We want this to be a very interactive session, so that we do ask that you please use the Q&A button. It should be at the bottom of your Zoom screen, right? And we've highlighted it here. Here's the Q&A button. Use that button, if you will, to enter questions. Like I said, we want this to be a lively conversation. We'll take questions while we're speaking, as well as we'll have a little time for Q&A at the end. So whichever approach you prefer, pop some questions in there so that we can have some conversations going, be able to answer your questions as we're talking about this exciting topic. Now, product management is better when you work as a team or when you have others that can help you move along in your career. So we recommend that you join us on our LinkedIn group, the Productside LinkedIn group, a great group with over 19,000 followers. So join that group so you can be part of the ongoing conversation about how product management is evolving. There's been a lot of change the last few years, particularly with the introduction of artificial intelligence, which we're going to talk about today, but lots of different topics and questions you can ask. Get help from other experienced product managers and be able to offer help as well. So join that LinkedIn. I think we're provided, the link is provided in chat, so you can just click that to join the group. All right, here's our agenda today. And Prashant, do you just want to kind of go over real quick the things we'll be talking about?
Yeah, so I have been a product manager for all my career. So I started as a PM. So that's all I know, working across different parts of the world with high growth companies. Two of them are public, uh, other two are multi-billion dollars. So I realized that building product is very hard. So today I'm going to share what I learned and how I think the future will be. And the core concept of product management of listening to customers, how that is evolving over time, that how do you listen to customers to build a better product. So it's going to be quite interesting. We will see what is the problem today, uh, why that problem matters, how can it be solved using AI, what is the future looking like, and what the outcome you will get after you do everything. And then we'll have an AMA.
Excellent. Fantastic. So let's learn a little bit about our audience here. We have our first question that we'd like to have a poll so we can understand a little bit more. And our first question, let me launch the poll, get that out in front of you all. So you should now see the poll in front of you. Do you have regular and direct interactions with your end users? Pretty simple question. We're starting out with an easy one, simple yes or no. So let us know your thoughts. We'll give you a few moments to answer this question so that we understand where you're all coming from. Well, actually, yeah, the answers here are a little more than yes and no. We have every day, every week, a few times a month, infrequently, or haven't used it yet. Oh, wait, this is how often are you using AI to assist with product discovery? Okay, did I
Yeah,
launch the wrong poll? My mistake.
it's fair. It's okay.
It's all right.
Happens.
All right. Well, this is awesome. We'll look at these results in just a moment. All right. Seems like we've gotten most of the answers. So let me end the poll and share the results. Can you all see
Mhm.
those results? All right. So number of people. So 40% haven't used it yet. Great. That's why you're here. We're going to be helping you get some ideas about how to do that. Excellent. But a number of you are using it every week or every day. That's great. Almost 30%. Fantastic. But let me see now. I'll get rid of this poll. Still want to ask the other poll question. So let's bring
Yeah,
that up. What's poll number one? Here we go. Let's launch this poll. All right. Please answer this one now. Do you have regular direct interactions with your end users? Oh, excellent. So far, folks are beating the trend. Just give you a couple more seconds to answer this question. All right. So 67% of you have regular direct interactions with your end users. That's fantastic. All right, Prashant, let's talk a little bit about what some other data has told us about this.
perfect. So, after like we were talking, if you're a product manager, I'm sure you would have heard or read about that. You have to listen to the customer. Customers are the king. You need to understand user needs. I think every from a basic course or book to advanced topic always touch upon this. But there's this report by McFarland where they found that only 15% of the product managers have interacted with their users. Imagine you're building something for someone and you have never talked to them.
Right?
And that's a big problem because all the fundamentals, all the learning, how to write a good PID, how to do a prioritization, how to do strategy falls out of the window if you don't understand the problem, if you haven't talked to the user. So that's something which was my frustration 4 years back when I was working, that I have to go through multiple layers, you know, and that's what
Mhm.
I'm gonna share in the next slide, that what happened actually.
Mhm.
So as the company becomes bigger and bigger, you start with a small startup idea. Let's say any big company at some point was a startup. So they start, the founders are building the product, they are constantly iterating, shipping, they go out, show their product, get feedback, and then improve. But as the company becomes bigger, there's a sales team who will talk and sell to users. There's a support team who will listen to the complaints. There will be a customer success team. There'll be a user research team, survey team, feedback, customer experience, voice of customer, community manager. Their endless role as the company becomes bigger. And actually, people who are building the product, they have to go through these people.
Mhm.
That's a big problem. The other gap is these teams, we need them, but they use different tools. Someone will be using a
Right.
CRM support ticket like Zendesk or Slack messages or something. You
Mhm.
cannot get access to all the tools. You cannot uh, basically get in, go and directly talk to the company. I have actually, I'll not take the name. I talked to a customer and uh, they are part of a publicly listed company, and they're like, legal team prevents us from talking to users because they want to monitor every conversation. Like there's a standard practices
Hmm.
they have to follow because uh, if you show them something which is going to come in the future, or if
Right.
you validate there that yes, this is a problem in our product, it could be devastating. So you are not allowed. You have to invite the user to a moderating room. You have to get an document signed by them and then talk to them.
Right.
So I was like, clearly that sucks because
Right.
uh, and that's true for a lot of publicly listed companies.
Mhm. Right. There's
And then
barriers that are being put in place, unfortunately, to protect the company, but it gets you further and further away from the customer.
exactly, and then people wonder why uh, big companies die off. So
Hmm.
companies which were on the cutting edge slowly start losing momentum. We saw this happen with IBM, HP, uh,
Hmm.
Intel. Uh, a lot of we are hearing the same chatter about Google. And there's a very good book by uh, Christian Clayton, I think, Innovator's Dilemma, where
Right.
they talk about how companies become big and then they start losing momentum. They're not innovating enough.
Right.
So this problem of l- customer discovery or product discovery. It's not just about building the products. It's also about saving the company from their event, uh, slow death. If you have to be in ahead of the curve, you have to listen to the customer.
Right.
And that's the biggest pain point which I thought we need to solve.
Absolutely. The one thing I'll point out too is this issue of bias, right? Even when you
Yes.
are getting information from customer support or you're reading it out of the CRM system, you're reading it from the support team, there's still a bias that's introduced when you're not getting the actual direct words of the customer. So it's a valuable source. You want to be looking at those systems. You want to be listening to sales and customer support, but you also want to get direct contact for sure.
We call it Chinese whisper. There's a game where people talk and the word change. And this
Yep.
is true. There's a biasness, there's a uh, also the problem is with the scale. I mean, imagine if you are a product manager at a big company. Even if I give you all this data, how can you make sense out of it? Like, how can you analyze all this data at scale? Any big company, we were talking to a company yesterday who have 10,000 customers. Now, imagine even if 10% of those customers give you a feedback or input a month, that's 1,000 inputs. And
Right.
the product team is just 20 people. 20 people going through 1,000 inputs is going to take hours and hours. And then you have to read everything. And some of this data point actually is not just yes or no or number,
Right.
which you can analyze. It's a
Mhm.
audio call, a sales call. It could be a user research interview. It could be support tickets where you have to read the conversation. So first is the gap between the data, and the second is the scale of the data.
Right. Right. We
That's
had a
another problem.
question,
Yeah.
Prashant, we had a question from Bryce actually of can you comment on the shift to customers being more self-serve and therefore having less contact points in the pre-sale conversations and its impact on our ability to have direct contact with customers?
So even if you are having self-serve customers, you might eliminate just the salesperson role. You are not going to uh, able to eliminate the support ticket. They are still going to have support issues.
Mhm.
And most of the PLG companies actually have the other problem, which I just mentioned, scale. If you are working as a PLG company, let's say Calendly,
Mhm.
you're going to have 100,000 customers. Now, the what I mentioned, 1,000 tickets are impossible to go through, 100,000 tickets are impossible to go through. So
Mhm.
the shift of not able to contact changes in a different way. The problem is different of scale then. So
Right.
both are the issues.
Yeah. I'll also add, Bryce, that when you're in this self-serve model, there are also many tools you can use. Amplitude comes to mind, Mixpanel, in fact, our earlier quote, allow you to then actually have interactions with your customers inside their experiences, either their mobile application or their web interface, where you can then ask a single question at certain times and
Yeah.
get direct customer feedback from them that way. And you can invite customers to become part of user forums and customer groups that would allow for direct verbal or visual interactions as well. So those are some of the ways that you can help have more direct contact with some of the self-serve customers.
And I'll touch on that in future, in the next slide. But this is something I met Marty Keegan 2 months back, and
Mm-hmm.
he everyone knows Marty Keegan in the product industry, excellent team, books. But I was asking that, okay, what is the problem? Like, what are you trying for? Like, at least half of the ideas are just not going to work. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you ship something out, they're not going to meet their intended use.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to achieve the business metric because
Right.
we, the business metric which we think the product will solve is in the some executive's mind, some salesperson's mind. It is not in the ground truth. The product which we think the user, if we ship it out, user will use, they're not going to use because their problem might be different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really sad that we ship out things which fail, and we try claim that software industry or tech industry is the most advanced tech industry in the world. Like, that's just such a wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that actually costs 90 billion, as per one report, $90 billion of loss
Mhm.
every month, not even year,
Wow.
in the world.
Yeah. Your quote reminded me of another quote from Steve Jobs. I'm actually as proud of the things we haven't done
Yeah.
as of the things that we have done. Right. So we've got to be really good at discriminating and better understanding our customer needs. So we wanted to ask another poll question. Let me start this poll up now that I've got my polls oriented here. How much of your roadmap today, the roadmap that you're working on, is driven by customer needs versus, say, executive direction? A couple of different choices here. Is it all customer needs driven, or is it mostly customer needs driven? Is it all executive driven, mostly executive direction? Or is it a good mix of both? So we'll give you a few moments to answer this question.
And even in mostly customer driven, uh, I think most people will agree that it is customer driven through the sales team.
Hmm. Through the sales team.
Y-
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that actually comes under executive direction, but yeah,
Mm-hmm. All right.
but you can see almost 30-60% people.
Yeah, let me end the poll and share the results. All right. So good. We've got a good mix. There's not as many executive drivens as I was afraid we might see. So I'm happy about that result. And then a good mix. There is still mostly executive driven though, so that's a challenge, and that's the challenge that we've just been talking about. We as product managers need to have direct contact with customers so we have the data to prove to our executives that we have a good, solid understanding of what customers actually need. And that should help bring us more, less executive driven, more customer driven when we have that data. All right, let's keep going. Prashant.
Just want to highlight one thing. There was
Mhm.
not a single person who said that their roadmap is customer driven, all customer driven.
Right.
So, so going forward, what is product discovery? Like, before when we start why it matters, product discovery basically means you have done enough research to understand what you are going to ship is viable, meaning it will achieve the business outcome and it's going to drive the business, because eventually business need to make money. Yes, customers there are two parallel stakeholders, customers and business. And my definition of a PM is they are trying to solve a problem which creates value for the both.
Mhm.
So the other thing is feasibility. If you ship it out, even it is possible to scale it, ship it, like you can build a carbon capture machine, but it won't be feasible to do it at scale and desirable. Um, our customer is going to use it actually. So these are the three. thing which you're trying to validate during the product discovery.
Mhm. Absolutely. Right. And I'm just putting a link. This is called product market fit. It's a great
Yeah.
technique for you to be using for sure.
So the title as it is says, how does AI fit into it? So we are going to focus on why AI is going to help it and how. If you see LLMs are making all the noise, and I have been working in AI machine learning space for 8 years, and uh, LLMs are one part of it. But they have done one very good thing. 4 years back, or let's say 2 years back, most of the product analysis or product discovery or product research used to happen on structured data, number of
Mhm.
transactions. All the even if you go to you know books you read or online courses, they always talk about metrics, and the metrics are generally transaction, number of users, daily active users, weekly active users, revenue, retention rate, churn rate. These are numbers which are good, but they don't uh, have the customer voice, because customer voice is not a number. Customer voice is a message. It's an emotion. It's an
Mhm.
sentiment. So it wasn't possible to listen to customers across different channels, tie it together, and come up with a sense or intuition at scale. This is going to change in future. I was talking to an investor recently, and we were talking that how you took Roger the name of Mixpanel and other tools.
Mhm.
10, 12, 15 years back, they did not exist. So that was a coming up industry where
Mhm.
people are like, oh, do we need it? Why do we need it? Should we have it? But now
Yeah.
you cannot imagine a company starting without any analytical tool,
Yeah.
which basically sees what your users are doing.
Mhm.
We believe there is going to be a future in which there's not going to be a single company which is not listening to the customer. It will require effort, it will require industry change, but with your work, Productside, at Marty Cake and other people championing it, that we need to listen to customers, this will change. And we will have a future where AI will go through all the unstructured data, customer feedback, sales call, all sort of data, and tell you that, hey, this is what your users are asking for. These are their complaint challenges. Why you should build this versus that. How can you prioritize it? And
Mhm.
eventually, uh, our pitch line when we started was, we are going to help you build the right product faster and better.
Mhm.
That's the future which we think AI will build, uh, enabling companies to listen customers at scale and ship the right product.
Absolutely. I'm particularly excited by this point about more efficient hypothesis testing. This is one of
Yes.
the areas in my experience working with customers every day. They struggle to be able to get the time to be able to
Yeah.
not just jump right into coding the first solution they think of, and instead developing a hypothesis and getting
Yeah.
it tested. They struggle with the ability to test. And so that is something that I'm super excited to learn more about how we can use AI to enable that capability. All right, now we already ran the poll, but let's just put the poll back up so we can reflect on it for a moment. Okay. We asked how often are you using AI to assist with product discovery? And we did see that nearly 30% of folks are using it daily or weekly. That's pretty awesome. And then, of course, 40% of the audience hasn't used it yet. So this is an exciting opportunity to learn more about how to go about using AI for these discovery techniques. Anything else you wanted to add, Prashant?
No, I think this is pretty good. In the end, we would love to hear how the current people are using AI. I think most people will be using Perplexity or ChatGPT to understand their persona.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'll touch upon that a bit, that how that is a market data and not customer data. So, so there's a difference between internal and external data. We'll
Mhm.
touch on that.
Good point.
But um, so how this journey will pan out? Let's divide the whole discovery part into four things. Uh,
Mhm.
First is getting the structured and unstructured data together. So we already touch upon a couple of tools like uh, user research, user survey, mix panel, amplitude, sales call, support tickets, Slack messages, Excel sheets,
Mhm.
uh, CRM data, customer success data, and I can go on and go on. But the first thing comes together is that how do you combine this data together? Now you can create tables and you can join them and then you can make sense and build integrations. But what we saw with Apple, where there will be AI agents which can talk to each other, like Apple Siri was talking to Google Maps or Calendar. In future, we will have almost all the SaaS company where every company build their AI agent, which will talk to other tools. So
Mhm.
if you have to connect these are just agents talking to each other and collecting the data. So that will
Excellent.
be the first thing. We do with Zeta, by the way, right now with all the indications, but I'm just living in the future and thinking that, oh, I may not even have to build integration and the agent
Mhm.
will figure it out.
Nice.
That's there. Second is able to analyze this data. Now,
Mhm.
we, for example, collect all this data from sales support, CRM, etc., and tell that, hey, we analyze your 1,000 tickets last week, and these are the feature requests, these are the user experience issues, these are the bugs, these are the complaints,
Mhm.
and then we categorize them based on your enterprise customer, whatever segment you want to do. So that analysis is another part which we do and present, uh, which helps you to have a bigger picture doing it that scale.
Mhm.
Another point here is then you take an action on it. So you collected, you analyzed, now you want to take action. Now the action could be validation, like you mentioned, Roger, that I want to validate that does this, what is the actual problem? So you can just reach out to these people with a AI generated survey or a request to do a call or
Right.
show a prototype that, hey, you complained about the login flow. This is the new login flow. You had experience issues on this date. Can you share feedback on this new thing? So the time saved before things actually go to development and live can be reduced. So you'll be
Mhm.
able to show. Also, leveraging all the context of customers to create the PID and Jira ticket. This is something which we are doing right now, but we think it will become even better. Now, when a Jira ticket is created using Feda, we automatically add context. This is the revenue impact. This is the customer who had issue. Uh, this is why we think we should build it. And
Wow.
the first draft of the ticket is also created using LLMs because we always again hear that engineers need to be involved, but they most of the time they don't know why they're building a ticket. They're just building a working
Right.
on a ticket.
Right.
So that's something which we are eliminating. And
Mhm.
lastly, closing the loop. AI can also help you close the loop because you did all the hard work, listen to customers, shipped it, but people don't know you have shipped it.
Right.
Like a lot of time, what happens is you just drop a message on Slack that, hey, we did it. But someone is not online, chat goes away, uh, email is not read. So it's just um, a big challenge to close the loop that, hey, you asked for it, we shipped it. You had an issue with it, we shipped it. This is going to positively impact your NPS, your customer satisfaction score, your adoption rate, your deal closure, everything.
Mhm.
So that's what we see, collection, analyze, take an action, and close the loop.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I love the validating the why aspect. And I said before, being able to conduct discovery more rapidly is going to be awesome. These are great things. So you talked about this earlier, this challenge of structured versus unstructured data. Tell us more.
So, like we talked, currently most of the data is structured data in the whole planning part. We only look at number of users, we only look at the churn, retention, conversion rates. Uh, but we believe that in future, we are going to have a lot of unstructured, your market research data, your competition data, your public reviews, your social media mentions, your support tickets, your emails, your Slack, your Gong calls, your transcription, user service. So we believe this shift will happen eventually where
Mhm.
both structured, unstructured data will work together. So that is something I'm excited about.
Yeah, very excited. The unstructured data in particular is where the real juice of understanding is, really the stories, right? That's
Yeah.
what we want to get at, is the stories that our customers are experiencing, the journeys they're on, and the stories they tell about what they're doing well and where they need more help. So that's the data we need to be able to mine more effectively for sure. I'm excited about that.
So now, Roger, your favorite part, why?
Yes.
So, so how it will look like is, and again, I don't see any tool doing this in current state. We are trying to go reach there. So I just want to give this as a direction and not that, hey, you sign up on Zeta and you'll be able to do it. But this is direction we are going in. That
Mhm.
one, we analyzed the data and we came up with trends, insights that what are pain points, what are the challenges, what are the complaints, what are the opportunities. W- The second part is if you are able to validate it out, that A/B test, that hey, our company objective, companies run on OKR generally now, that is to grow the revenue, or it could be to grow the sign up rate, or it could be to grow the daily active user. Now, these three could be different metrics which require you to build different things.
Mhm.
Able to map that, hey, if we are able to improve the sign up page, this is going to be the impact. If we are able to ship this feature, we'll close 10 deals. This is going to be the revenue impact. If we are going to uh, solve this bug, this will improve our NPS or CSAT. So uh, that ability to look into the data and map it to your company goal and have hypothesis. Maybe
Right.
in future, AI can also run simulations. So currently, I'm reading that uh, there's this uh, Google AI which created new molecules by running simulation. Someone ran
Mhm.
created new material for battery using AI. So these things, imagine if we are able to just run experimentation on AI also. That hey,
Mhm.
if this then that, and finally using all this context to create a prototype. Like, hey, this is my product, this is my PRDs, this is what people are asking, this is what I'm planning to build. Can you help me quickly create a prototype? And there are tools out there already. There's a company UiZerd, which was acquired by Miro in Netherlands. Then there are a couple of
Hmm.
other companies which are creating prototype using your prompt.
Right.
So now that prompt is coming from Zeta, which is user data analysis. The hypothesis is coming from Zeta or some other business tool or company or PM, and the prototype is being built. So that is going to be super awesome.
That is going to be very awesome. I can't wait for that pipeline to connect all of these dots. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, you did talk about this issue that I see with my students all the time of they are trying to just jump right to a solution instead of developing a hypothesis and testing it. And if we can
Yeah,
automate that process, make it happen faster, that is going to really unleash our ability to collect more data. There's actually been a conversation going on amongst a couple of our attendees about the hippo problem, right?
yeah,
The highest paid person's opinion seems to win the day. These kinds of things of being able to develop these solutions and test them is going to generate the data you need to be able to present to your executive team to say, this is why we should or should not be developing this next feature. So I'm excited for that opportunity.
me too. So the next thing is if you have all the analysis, the taking that action. So now the action could be either helping you with prioritization that, right, I talk to companies and big companies, they spend months and months to plan their roadmap for next 6 months.
Mhm.
And everyone talks about agile, but and I make fun that this is not agile. There's a smaller waterfall, but this is waterfall.
It is.
So
Yep.
uh, this is not agile. And then even hippo, for example, there's no someone says someone actually asked the question that what are you going to, as a PM going to do? You are
Mhm.
going to data is, by the way, not if you are just looking at data, we would not have innovation. You need to be innovating. So that does not need to be backed by data. So I'll touch more on that Q&A part, but ability to go in a meeting and say that I'm not, you asked me to build it, you might be my CEO, but I don't think we should build it and build something else because see, this is the data which Veda.io provided me that revenue impact, how many customers are saying, the pain point, the frequency of the pain point over last 6 months. You are giving me opinion, I am giving you data. And
Right,
trust me, even as a CEO, I can tell you, I cannot argue with data.
right. Agreed.
So that data-driven prioritization is going to be super powerful. What are scenarios? So ability to say that if these are the four uh, recommendations to build, if we ship A versus B versus C, what is going to be the impact? Uh, Prediction modeling, simulations, that's going to become a lot of things. There's this company which helps you create artificial personas. I don't like that idea of
Mm.
having artificial persona.
Right.
Uh, but if you have to just do the modeling to eliminate few things, it's good. And I actually think some of these things are possible. When I say some of these things, uh, I always give this example that we get excited about LLMs now, but trust me, in 2017, 2018, uh, if you search the web, you can still find articles and so on. Alibaba created 500 million ad banners using AI, which is hyper personalized. For
Hmm.
this, they have single day sale. If people are aware of Chinese e-commerce, where they did revenue. One day revenue is more than uh, entire GDP of countries. Like that's the scale.
Wow.
So if you just search China single day sale in China, you'll see. And they also launched an app where they said that they did analysis where older people who have money, they were able to do more purchases if they increase the font size,
Oh,
just
yeah.
increasing the font size.
Right.
Now, I'm saying that this data is available online. You don't
Hmm.
have to, sometime, if you are saying that if you increase the font size, what could be the impact? So that you can look into your data. All those
Hmm.
things are possible now or in future. And
Hmm.
finally, adaptive planning. What it means is currently, in order to get something built, you have to collaborate and coordinate with multiple teams. You have to go one by one. You have to ask, is the engineer available? Is the front end team available? Is the design available? I have been in that space where I had to get resources. We call them resources. Very
Hmm.
bad word, but that's what we companies use. But imagine if you're able to say, predict with a hypothesis that, hey, company goal is to increase revenue. If we ship this out, we believe by 70% confidence that we'll achieve that. We need front-end team, back-end team. Their roadmap has 20 items. We want them to optimize and plan such a way that this thing gets shipped first. So that alignment communication is going to be amazing
Right.
in future. So I'm just thinking this as the next step of discovery. Once you have done the discovery, that will be
Hmm.
how we can help you with planning.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm excited about the ability to be able to monitor the market and see as changes, because things are changing more rapidly all the time. Be able to then adapt your roadmap more effectively is going to be an important aspect of this as well. To Wesley's comment earlier, yeah, human in the loop is going to still be an essential thing, right? You talked about creativity,
Exactly.
but also in terms of decision making. AI can make recommendations, but
Yeah.
you get the larger context of these things, and you're going to still be a crucial player as a product manager in making those decisions.
I think we are going to be the one few things which we are going to do actually. One is fine tuning the knob. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we are good at. Second, the idea is We do the innovation. We don't do the operational work. And that's the whole premise why AI should be there. Machines should be there. That we are going to have more and more ability to create and innovate so that we don't have to stick in a meeting just to tell we shipped something. We don't have to sit in a meeting just to say that why we are building this. We have data to present, we have analysis to present. We go stronger in a meeting and take a decision, not a just sitting around and writing a PID or email or just listening to people. So that the idea is we get more strategic time. We do more uh, work which is going to innovate. We don't do the operational work.
Right. No, that's a great point. All right. So let's talk about communication.
So communication piece is basically, which we talked about closing the loop earlier, that if you build out something, you want to make sure that everyone is up to date, that, hey, there is an internal communication and there's an external. In internal, you are communicating that why we prioritize this. Because this is the data, like I told you, engineers getting to know, designers getting to know what pain point is it solving.
Mm-hmm.
Sales team getting to know that, hey, there's a roadmap and there's a change. Currently, if a change happen in a roadmap, sales team is not aware, support team is not aware, and then they ask when we were supposed to go live. Uh, the other thing is just writing the communication part of email that, hey, we ship this out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also collecting feedback, like we said, getting that feedback from the people and analyzing it at scale in a readable manner.
Mm-hmm.
Ability to, you mentioned already first, that, hey, we are going to ship this out uh, based on your feedback. Can you give more input? Can I get a time, like just scheduling a call that, hey, based on your feedback, we would love to schedule a call about this, sending that email out automatically. These are
Right.
communication pieces which are going to change a lot and make things much faster and smoother. It's a hygiene thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about the automated workflow, like you said, to free us up for more strategic thinking. Very important.
Lastly, it's going to be the impact. Now, if you ship something out, we we believe that in AI, it will tell that, hey, you ship this out. What is the impact? Currently, what happens is there's no direct correlation. You ship something out, and then you go to mixfunnel that did the DAU increase? Did the NPS increase? Did the company goal achieve? And a lot of time there's no correlation. And
Right.
I can give examples of that. That if you ship something out in October, that, hey, we are going to increase the revenue, and you are working in an e-commerce, working in Europe or North America, you will see that, oh, you achieved your goal, but people forget that's a Christmas time. Every goal will be revenue will be increasing. So you cannot have that correlation. So I
Mm,
believe that impact measurement will change a lot, where people will be able to analyze the data and
right.
build a better correlation.
Mm-hmm.
You ship this out, what is the impact? That is what we mean by impact on customer engagement, satisfaction, and the business.
Right. And the exciting thing about this is with all that data, like you said, 10 years ago, we didn't have all these tools. We do now, but now we're in an ocean of data. And we need
Yeah.
help being able to analyze that data so that we do get early engagement. I mean, the challenge that we've had in the past is that things like revenue growth and cost savings are so far down the line, it takes a long time to be able to identify them. But if we can get actual analytics to tell us about the data down here and here more rapidly, we can react more quickly. We can be able to actually understand how we're moving forward and or not, and be able to adjust more rapidly. That's going to be exciting to have that data come to us more quickly.
Now, a lot of people might say that, oh, we want to use AI, but how do we get it in our company? So
Mm-hmm.
there are a few challenges after talking to almost 2000 companies. I have seen that one is organizational challenges, data, like you were saying, willingness to share the data, data privacy concerns, and buy-in that we want to use AI uh, to build the better product. And trust me, this is harder because executives think they are losing the control. They might not be able to have a say in the roadmap now. The hippo
Mhm.
person might not be happy. A few of them, the infrastructure team that hey, we are okay to share data. So that's the other part. Definitely, uh, investing in the tools, in the training of the PMs on customer discovery, product discovery is important. Which companies, eventually, what will happen is companies which use AI to build better products will start winning, and the
Mhm.
companies which are not using AI will start losing, and then
Right.
they will market will shift that
Hmm.
hey, we need to have it. So that's a future we think will happen.
Hmm. Yep.
The other question is definitely related to data quality and accessibility.
Mhm.
Um, Remember you were talking, Roger, that data comes in. Now you can listen to the customer, but a lot of time salesperson will just write what they want to
Right.
get it out to
Use the
influence
button.
the system. Uh, Support ticket might not have the actual context. So able to have best fixes, and that goes to previous part. Investing in the uh, just a second.
Yeah, having that quality is going to be
Yes,
super important to help eliminate bias.
exactly. So basically, able to uh, have that data coming in to you, which you can then prioritize, and then you can have it accessible. Is going to be very key. And we have already seen companies starting to build templates for sales team, support team to fill it out if they want to send it to the product team. Even the surveys are structured
Mhm.
to improve the quality. Uh, then lastly is AI will be used by a PM. So PM should have empathy. I'm sure you are teaching empathy, product discovery.
Absolutely.
The the future is going to be PMs which are empowered by AI as compared to PMs who are just. It's very clear. There's a PM who looks at mixed funnel amplitude, which is analytical data, listen to customer unstructured data, leverages AI to validate it, and then
Mhm.
communicate their finding. Versus a PM who's in the meetings looking at data manually or by a product analyst or business analyst, trying to create a PPT, going in a meeting, and then trying to argue with the hippo. We both
Right.
know who's going to win.
Mhm. Yep.
So
Yep.
that's going to be the key.
Can be very important for sure. All right, we're getting close to the end, so just a couple more slides, and we want to save time for any. We have a couple questions left to answer as well. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So finally, this is just the closing slide. As AI will get better and better,
Hmm.
the it will start to understand not just internal data, but external data, what is happening in the market, where the population is going, where the masses are going. More accurate prediction, because as you get more and more data, currently, for example, we have started to include health articles, PID documents, that thing keep on getting added, and then
Hmm.
the context start getting built in. It will get better with prediction. Currently, there's no prediction happening, but we have been asked by a lot of customers about prediction, and we see that happening in future.
Interesting.
And lastly is the iteration, like you talked, that
Yeah.
we are going to have faster iteration of what we are going to ship. Instead of
Mhm.
current way of building and shipping, we might just be able to leverage AI to ship fast, iterate fast, listen fast.
I love the idea, right? Of being able to iterate in small increments of value, be able to conduct tiny acts of discovery, be able to get those understandings quickly back to the market as we learn. It's going to be fantastic. Excellent. So one of the questions we had was, what AI tool can help you prioritize features and how do you link it to your data? So let's talk a little bit about Zeta.io.
Perfect. So basically, what we do is we integrate with all the tools which you mentioned: CRM, support, sales, customer success, user research, user survey. We bring in together the data, and then we generate analysis which is prioritized based on revenue. That hey, revenue, because we work with B2B companies mostly, that what is the revenue impact of each feature?
Mhm.
We also take frequency and also internally company what matters. Some companies compliance matters a lot. It might be just one request, but it
Mhm.
matters a lot. So we build the model from company to company. We take in the data and then we tell that, hey, how you should prioritize. The other thing is this is all automated. This is all natively built. You don't have to manually go through it. And you can build your own prioritization model that I want to prioritize based on this, and we'll do that. So
Fantastic.
that's the uh, about Veda. If anyone who is interested, I think there will be a slide later on. We can skip the video because we are running out of time, but
Okay.
we can share it later. Yeah,
Okay. Excellent. Well,
please
in
do check
fact,
it out, Veda.io.
yeah, there's learn more there, and hopefully we can also share that YouTube link in the chat that would allow folks
Sure.
to check it out. All right.
Perfect.
Well, so we want to save time for some questions, but we do have a couple of special offers. There's a special first special offer is from Zeta. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about this one, Prashant.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to give it a try for their team, we'll give 20% discount. Just drop an email and in the subject line mention product side reference. Uh, we'll apply 20% discount to your annual plan. So you can just check it out.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you. All right. Hold on a second. I'm grabbing the link here. Okay. On our side, there are a couple of tools that we want to share with you to help you improve as well. If you are interested in getting help in improving your overall organization, you can take our product management team assessment tool. Just use your phone to grab that QR code. There is, we'll also drop a link to that into the chat. We also just dropped a link into the chat for the video. You can watch the Zeta.io video and see how the product actually works. So check out this product management team assessment as well using your phone. We have upcoming courses. I will be teaching optimal product management at the beginning of next month, which is an amazing course that allows you to get deeper into conducting product discovery. And how do you then become more outcome focused? How do you develop a solution hypothesis? As Prashant was saying, we want to test more. We want to be able to test these ideas out. So check these courses out. And there's a link also in the chat for that. All right, Q&A. Please pop some more questions into the Q&A panel. But let's return to this AI tool question because it was a little more specific, Prashant. What AI
Yeah.
tool can you use to prioritize features, and how do you link it to your data?
So I'm biased here, but I'll recommend Zeta.io first.
Of course.
But there are some other tools which are definitely helping. There's a sales-centric tools. There's a tool called Vibun, which basically takes the sales data. Then there's Dovetail and Maze, which do with user research. Basically,
Mhm.
before even going to that question, I'll just point out that it also comes to to you. How do you want to prioritize? There are different companies which have different uh, ways of working. Some companies are very sales driven, enterprise
Mhm.
sales, and they want to prioritize based on revenue. Nothing wrong with that, but that's one way of working.
Mhm.
The other one is very customer driven product mindset. Like a lot of uh, companies which are built Notion, for example, very product driven, Figma. So they have a community where they get data. So first is how does your company operate? Then based on how your company prioritize, which tool do you want to use? Do you want to use a tool which helps with sales data or with user research data? So that will be another question.
Mhm. Right.
In uh, other companies, it could be domain specific where you want to see market data. I was talking to a automaker who
Mhm.
they do a lot of market analysis. They don't do uh, a lot of direct customer analysis, but what is the trend in the EV market, regulations, all those things. In that cases, they hire agencies like consulting agencies who help them with all the analysis. But
Mhm.
that's another thing which AI can help you. Uh, I remember they said they paid 20 million. We are not the right fit for that. I'm just being honest here. But they paid 20 million per year to consulting companies. I'm talking for a very large publicly listed company.
Wow.
And they said, and they said if you can you do it? And I was like, no, but I do believe there will be a startup out somewhere in the world which is going to replace consulting companies.
Yeah, no, very
Here's
good.
another question.
Yeah. So Ishan shares, I'm hearing a lot about customer feedback, listening to customers to make better product decisions lately, but as a business, strategic goals also matter, which define which feedback we need to consider. If the customer feedback doesn't relate with business goals, does it make sense? How do you tackle this when you're getting customer feedback that they need to improve something, but you don't see how you can connect the dots to a business goal?
I agree. You should not build properly because that's where the human come in. What Roger said. That's you as a PM trying to make a sense that um, we can tell as a tool, Zeta.io, you define your business objective that our objective is to grow revenue, and then we can tell these are the uh, customer feedback or these are the things which can help. But there could be feedback which do not align with anything.
Hmm?
Now it's your call. Do you want to prioritize them? Do you think it? There are some features which you build for business objective, some features you build for customer satisfaction or just delighters. I mean,
Right.
uh, for example, Google Chrome having that offline mode, that dragon game or the
Right.
dinosaur
The
game.
game, yes.
Now,
Mhm.
now it has nothing to do with business goal, by the way,
Right.
but it's a delighter, which
Yes.
which is there. So that's where the PM will come in. And unfortunately, as I said, we can do the first layer to tell that these requests will align with this goal. Or you can define that, hey, I want to grow my revenue. What should I ship? And we can tell you few features either way. But eventually you will have to take the call that, hey, this does not align with anything, but will it help with something? If not, you won't get a buy.
The other thing I will say, though, to Ishan's question is dig a little deeper because sometimes that customer feedback may be something that creates a loyalty loop, may create more affinity, and also help with net promoter score. So you want to be digging deeper on some of these customer requests and see whether or not you can connect the dots to, say, reducing churn or increasing loyalty, which then ladders up to that business outcome that you're interested in actually achieving. So dig deeper. And that's where, again, not just AI, but human plus AI is where we're going to be able to really unleash the capabilities of both technology and good strategic thinking. So I think that was the last question that we had here. Prashant, thank you so much for opening our eyes to some opportunities for using AI in discovery. A very helpful conversation, really good set of slides. This has been recorded. So for those of you who are new, the 40% who haven't yet used AI, there's a lot of good ideas in here. I encourage you to go back over the recording and the slides and incorporate some of these ideas into the way you are conducting work. Use the link that we put in chat to go see how Zeta.io is working and be able to see whether or not maybe that's a great tool for you to incorporate. And lastly, check us out at productside.com. We have great upcoming courses on various topics, all of which talk about how do you conduct more discovery and become a more data-driven product manager. So thank you again, Prashant, for a great time. Thank you all for your attendance. Hope you all have a great day. Go forth and make great products.